All right, fifth grade, it's time for our language today. It's Wednesday, the 27th of May, 2020. We're going to work on pages 149 to 151. We're going to learn about colons and hyphens. I have that on the board right now. We're going to learn about semicolons, when to use a semicolon, and when underlining rules. Okay, so we're continuing with punctuation rules. These are known as the writer's signals, okay? So we're going to start with colons, hyphens, and colons and hyphens. So there are 3 rules for colons and 1 rule for hyphens. Okay, so I'm just going to go through those with you really quickly. So we have colon rule number 1. Use a colon between hours and minutes when you write the time. Example, 11:30. So 11 is the hours, 30 is the minutes. So whenever you're writing time, you would use a colon. Again, use a colon between hours and minutes when you write the time. 11 hours, colon, minutes, 30. Colon rule number 2. Use a colon after the salutation, okay, the greeting, so to speak, of a business letter. For example, dear sir, colon, to whom it may concern, colon, okay? So when you're writing a business letter, and this is your salutation, your greeting, you would put a colon after it, okay? Colon rule number 3. Use a colon between a chapter and verse when you write a scripture reference, okay? A biblical reference. So here, John, colon, 3:16. I'm sorry, John 3, that's the chapter, the verse is 16, so John 3, colon, 16. Okay, so use a colon between a chapter and a verse when you write a scripture. Hyphen rule. Use a hyphen to divide a word at the end of a line at the syllable. Okay, or I wrote a syllable because many words have multiple syllables, meaning more than one. So my example, I wrote, I am going to the Li, because that's the syllable break, hyphen B-R-A-Y-R. B-R-A-R-Y, after school to study. So I'm going to the library, it says, but let's say I ran out of room on my paper. I came to the red margin line at the end of my paper. Then at the syllable, I will put a hyphen, continue the word in the next line. I am going to the syllable break, hyphen, brary, after school to study. On your writing assignments this year, I have told you do not hyphen. I don't want you to hyphenate words because you're not hyphenating them at the syllables, hyphenating them at the syllables. So I wanted to make sure that you didn't get into a bad habit of just putting a hyphen whenever you run out of room at the end of your paper. Okay, it's got to be at the syllable. So we need to understand that rule. So that's why I wrote, please don't hyphenate words whenever you did, especially on spelling sentences, etc., because you're not exactly sure where to hyphenate them consistently, okay? All right, so that's how you're going to do page 149. They have different things for you to put into syllables, to learn when to hyphenate, etc. So follow, you don't have to do number 5. It says, on notebook paper, write a paragraph which includes a time reference, a Bible reference, and one word which might be divided at the end of the line. You don't have to do that, okay? So then we're going to semicolons, all right? So it says, use a semicolon to separate the parts of a compound sentence if they are not joined by and, but, or, nor, for, and yet, okay? So our example is wait on the Lord, semicolon, be of good courage. Okay, so if you're not using a connecting word, then use a semicolon. If you are, you'd put a comma in the word and, like you could write that, wait on the Lord, comma, and be of good courage. Okay, all right. So it says in Think A, insert needed semicolons. It says pray for a good harvest. God will provide. Okay. Where are you going to put the semicolon? Pray for a good harvest. Semicolon. God will provide. Okay. Number 2, The Lord reigneth, let the people tremble. Your two sentences are, the Lord reigneth, that's one sentence. The next one is, let the people tremble. Okay, so the Lord reigneth, semicolon, let the people tremble. So you're putting, again, a semicolon between those two obvious sentences, all right? Because there's no comma, there's no connecting word. So it's another way of writing a compound sentence. Let's do one more, number 3. Yesterday is gone forever. Tomorrow never comes. Your two sentences are, your compound sentence is, yesterday is gone forever. That's the first sentence. And then the next one is, tomorrow never comes. All right, so you're going to put your semicolon between, right after the word forever and before tomorrow. So it would read, yesterday, I got to make sure I'm in the right sentence. Yesterday is gone forever, semicolon, tomorrow never comes. All right, so pretty simple. Okay, think B, punctuate these compound sentences correctly with either a semicolon or a comma. If the word has a connecting word, and, but, or, nor, for, or, yet, you're going to put a comma in front of it. Okay, if it doesn't, then you know I need to use a semicolon. I'm going to say that again. If it has a connecting word, and, but, or, nor, for, and, yet, in any of those words, in an obvious break between two sentences that have been joined together, it'll be obvious, you put your comma. If it doesn't have a connecting word, then you'll put a semicolon. So let's look at two examples. The first one, serve the Lord with gladness, first sentence, come before his presence with singing. So there is no connecting word there. There's no and, but, or, nor, for, or, yet. Okay, so I put a semicolon in there between gladness and come. So it should read, serve the Lord with gladness, semicolon, come before his presence with singing. Number 2, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts will be established. Okay, it's got a connecting word in there, so we put a comma before it. So it should say, commit thy works unto the Lord, comma, and thy thoughts shall be established. Commit thy works unto the Lord, comma, and thy thoughts shall be established. So if it doesn't have a connecting word again, it doesn't have the word and, but, or, nor, for, or, yet, then you're going to put a semicolon between the two sentences. If it does have a connecting word, and, but, or, nor, for, and, yet, put a comma before that connecting word, okay? You don't need to do letter C. I might explain that to you later, but don't worry about doing letter C or letter D, because we write all the time. All right? Okay? So that's pretty easy to explain. It's one or the other. If there's a connecting word, you put a comma. If there isn't, you put a semicolon. You just need to think about what are the two sentences in these compound sentences. All right? Now, look at page 151, underlining rules. Underline the titles of books, newspapers, and magazines. So whenever you, Sports Illustrated, People, LA Times, books, the Bible, obviously, the Book of Books, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, whatever it is, underline the titles of books, every book that you write about, every newspaper or magazine. That's underlining rule number 1. So our examples are the book, Alice in Wonderland. You capitalize it because it's the name of a particular book, and you'd underline it. The New York Times, a newspaper, you capitalize New York Times, you'd underline it. I'm looking right here at these examples. Right here, the next one, Reader's Digest, which is a magazine, you underline it and you capitalize it. It's a proper noun. These are names of particular books, newspapers, magazines, all right? So whenever you see a book, title of a book, newspaper, magazine, it is underlined. All right, now another way you can do that is in italics. So like when I'll write a name of a book or something on a parent letter or whatnot, I can write it in italics because it's computerized. So I can hit the italic font and it will make it in italics. That's another way that you can identify books properly. All right, but when you're writing just freehand, obviously you're going to underline it. Underlining rule number 2, underline the names of ships, trains, and planes. Ships, trains, and planes. Okay, so it says here, a ship, the USS Lexington. That's obviously a battleship. You underline the word Lexington. Discovery, a spaceship. There's a spaceship known as the Discovery. You will underline the word Discovery, the name of the ship, capital D. Silver Meteor, name of a train. There you go, Morgan, you love trains. The Silver Meteor, you underline Silver Meteor. Okay, you don't have to underline the word train or the word spaceship or the word ship. You underline the proper noun, the exact name of the spaceship, the exact name of the ship, and the exact name of the train. Okay, so underline the names of ships, trains, and planes. All right, so like United Airlines, you're going to underline United Airlines. All right, so underlining rule number 2. Okay, underlining rule number 3. Underline the names of plays. Okay, the names of films, sculptures, paintings, and other works of art. Okay, again, the names of plays, famous plays, the names of films, movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark, that was on TV the other day, classic, sculptures, famous sculptures, and paintings and other works of art. So our examples are Old Town is a very famous play. We did it at Culver City High School. I wasn't in it. I was an athlete, but they did that play. So you underline the words our town, and notice you capitalize it because it's a name of a particular play. Then in your example, it says Blue Boy, which is a very famous painting, painted by Thomas Gainsborough. So Blue Boy, capitalized, B in blue, B in boy, and underlined because it's the name of a particular painting. And the Pieta, a sculpture by Michelangelo. You underline Pieta, plus you capitalize it because it's a particular sculpture. Okay, so again, underlining rule number 1, underline anytime you're referring to a magazine, a newspaper, or a book, you underline the title. Underlining rule number 2, anytime you're naming a particular ship, a particular train, not just the word train, but a particular name of a train, a particular name of a ship, or a particular name of a plane, you underline it and capitalize it, obviously, because it's a proper noun, because it's a particular name, like I said. And underlining rule number 3, anytime you're naming a particular play, a particular film, a particular sculpture, a particular painting, or other works of art, you will underline the particular name of whatever it is. The name of the painting, the name of the sculpture, the name of the play, the name of the movie, the name of the film. Okay? So those are our underlining rules. And then in your work here, think A, it says use underlining correctly in the following sentences. It said Grant Wood's painting, American Gothic, notice that it's all in caps, so that's the name of the painting, obviously, has become very popular, so you will underline American Gothic, one line under it. Okay? Number 2, I subscribe to National Geographic. That's the name of a magazine, which is my favorite magazine, so you're going to underline, notice that National Geographic, the N in National and the G in Geographic is capitalized. It's a proper noun. You're going to underline National Geographic. Number 3, 3 people in our small town get the New York Times. New York Times, name of a newspaper. Notice that it's alphabetized. It's capitalized, N in New, Y in York, T in Times, New York Times. You underline New York Times, one line under it. Okay, so those are some examples. All right, so that's what we are doing today. I've written these out. I couldn't fit all these on the board, but they're pretty self-explanatory. You have the rules right there in front of you and examples. You need any help, give me a call.